Welcome to the Funky Fresh Garden Show with yours truly, the Grow Goddess, here on KYGT The Goat 102.7. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Our show is intended to connect growers and gardeners with industry experts and their expert advice. My goal is to inspire people not only to be interested in the food they grow and the things they ingest, but how to grow them themselves. We take calls for your gardening questions towards the end of the show. If you want to call in, the number is 303-567-4628, or you can message us on our Facebook. That's facebook.com/The Funky Fresh Garden Show. And then also you can visit me on my blog at thegrowgoddess.com. So if I talk too fast or you need more explanation, you can get it there. In studio with me today is Trey once again. He joins me from time to time.
Hey, everybody.
And then also with us is this week's special guest, Chris, from General Hydroponics. He's a local rep here in Colorado and also has a vast amount of gardening experience and knowledge. General Hydroponics is one of the biggest names when it comes to fertilizers and hydro equipment. If you're in the business of growing, you're familiar with the name, if not the product itself in one way or another. Since we have the honor of having such a great mind here with tons of knowledge and on his specific line, we won't have just one topic. We'll kind of be discussing all the wide array of products that GH offers. So as usual, I like to start out with a little mood music. Welcome back to the Funky Fresh Garden Show. This is the Grow Goddess here on KYGT The Goat. Today we have General Hydroponics Chris in studio to discuss some of his products with us and talk a little gardening. Hi, Chris.
How are you?
Good. So first, I want you to tell me a little bit about General Hydroponics, a little bit about when they started and who started it.
Sure. Lawrence Brook founded General Hydroponics in the mid-'70s, and the vision was to really employ massive growth with, limited effort in like twice the time it would normally take in soil. So if you look up the term hydroponics, it means working water. And so there's no soil involved with this, and all of the minerals and nutrients that the plant receives, it gets from a water-based solution, not decomposition through rhizospheric biology that we find in soil. So that was the vision, and a little bit of history on Larry. He's been around NASA. He's been dealing with contracts in the Antarctic expedition where it is nearly impossible to grow anything.
Yeah.
Unless you have the right equipment and most importantly the right food. So let me just say, this is a real treat to be here, guys. This is awesome. This is very, very cool.
Oh, we're pretty excited to have you here.
Yeah, if the listeners could only see what I'm seeing right now. I mean, you guys are nestled in the Gold Nugget Mountain here. Just seriously fabulous.
I love it.
How could you not? But getting back, Larry has, just one simple vision, and that is it's got to be about the plants, And from that spawned General Hydroponics, where they manufactured, multiple hydro systems. I mean, some of the most renowned scientists, he's worked with on this. And as a result, I guess that kind of stayed with him, because if you've ever seen the facility, I mean, it's complete state-of-the-art. I mean, spared no expense. The best science team. The QC on our product, it's like not the stuff that's batched up in a bathtub. It's all state of the art. It's a big deal. Right. So yeah, that's a little bit about GH, and again, they've been in business since the mid-'70s.
And how long have you been with them?
Going on, God, what feels like a decade, because I've been in this industry forever, and I've always used their products. So, but employed with General Hydroponics, God, I would say probably 3 years.
Okay. Nice. So I'm sure you love it then.
Oh, man.
Using their products prior.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, my favorite part is, once or twice a year, we get all the team guys together and we sit down and have FaceTime with our scientists.
Cool.
That's the real treat. Mm-hmm. I mean, we learn things that, some might consider, trade secrets, and some might consider old hat, but some of the basics that are applied to these, growing techniques, when you give it the best premium grade raw ingredients, which GH does, you're going to get results. So.
Well, I think that's awesome that they share that with you guys, because I think a lot of other companies don't allow their reps to get that in depth.
Absolutely.
Of their products. And I think that changes how they can sell it and how they.
Yep. And to expand on that, the retail shops are, they're at the mercy of the reps educating them about the specific products.
Yes.
So if you get a rep coming into the shop that's got a little bit of growing knowledge and, can take a plant cradle to grave, which isn't really hard to do, because life does find a way. When you have customers asking questions about a specific product, 99 times out of 100 I hear, "Oh, we'll just use it, man. It's a good product."
Yeah.
and having the method and the knowledge behind the madness, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
Is quite a treat.
Yeah,
so,
method is everything.
Absolutely.
And that's definitely something, that we're trying to do is not just say this is a great product, but kind of explain that to them why.
Sure,
scientifically.
you betcha. Well, let's go through it a little bit. The best-selling product in these shops seems to be the 3-part nutrient. Now, for you hydro growers out there, your soil growers, your rock wool growers, cocoa growers, this all applies to you. What you put in is what you get out. And when we start out with a base nutrient, we expect to have a complete balanced nutrient profile. And that means when you mix it up according to the manufacturer's dilution rates, you're going to have a perfect nutritional balanced profile for this plant to eat. Now we get into the radicals. When we get evaporation in the reservoir, our balance is offset, isn't it? In theory, your EC/ppm would go up.
Right.
Your pH may fluctuate until you can get into the room and top off. So what was once balanced in theory is now imbalanced. And depending on the raw ingredients you're using is going to determine how the plant reacts to that natural stress. Quality ingredients will give you quality products.
Right. And definitely, I want to touch on kind of each one of those lines that you have. How long have you been gardening, and what really makes you so passionate about it?
Wow. You're about to disclose my age, aren't you? I've been gardening for over 20 years, mostly as a hobby gardener. And truth be told, never as a huge, large op. It's always been, kind of just a passion. And I think that was a great word you used. Like any gardener, I'm not going to tell you guys anything you don't already know.
Right.
When we see life grow, it's an instant gratification. And so when we walk into the room, the day after the lights are out, okay, and that's the other reason why I love to travel,
Because you come back and it's so different.
It's like, feed me, Seymour. It's amazing. But I do like to see the plants, grow. Life is wonderful to watch. If any of you gardeners out there, have a couple of bucks or already have a camera, do yourself a favor. Get a time lapse.
Yeah, we've got one of those.
Oh, it's so insane.
It's awesome to have.
From germination all the way through. Mm-hmm. It's sick, isn't it?
It's totally worth it. I don't even know what they sell for, but...
Well, they're probably like 60 or 80, but I know Brinio. Yeah, I plugged you. Is
pretty fancy.
Yeah, buddy, that's sick, Trey. That is sick.
So, one common question I always seen in retail was which nutrient is the best
to use?
Well, in general. Mm-hmm. And, I think that question, I don't think it could be answered as a whole. I think it really depends on the methods.
It does. And let's get into that a little bit. It's like this. How deep is a hole? Nobody really can answer that question. So what is the best nutrient? The best nutrient is the nutrient that is going to give you the results you expect based on your grow style, method, and technique. For example, if you were to throw down on the GH3 part versus, I don't know, any one of the other competitors, you're going to see the competitors work. There's a lot of good products out on the market. A lot. Okay? Not a lot of great products. There's a lot of good products. But with General Hydroponic, it tends to be a big boy product. It's very, very concentrated. So in the example I used where the balance in theory becomes imbalanced because of the evaporation and you're using a highly concentrated formula, one may tend to think my plants are going to burn. Okay? With an inferior nutrient, it will. So you have more of a parameter of not necessarily having to worry about it as hard as if you would have used a good product. Great products give great results.
Right.
So.
And, the reason I'm really bringing it up is because GH specifically has a product designed to fit kind of everybody's needs. So they have multiple lines, whether you're growing organically or synthetically in dirt or in hydroponics. One thing I want to try to kind of talk about was the difference between those synthetic and organic fertilizers.
Sure. When we think of the term organic, we think of, pure, clean, great, everything's good. The fact is, organics have very high levels of sodium, which is not very good for plants. However, the results we get kind of offset, that sodium content. And organic typically means it's gone through something's digestive tract, which can tend to lead to pathogens and things like that, as the cantaloupe growers last year.
Yeah.
So, organics is good. Hydroponics, when I hear this term synthetic, I think of a laboratory where there's a bunch of bags of different powders that they're blending together and trying to mix in a beaker that's fogging up, and that's not the case. The case is when we're dealing with hydroponic nutrients, we're dealing with mineral salts. Okay? Look in your backyard. In fact, look across the street.
Right.
Did you see anybody feeding these trees organics? Of course not. They are mining the minerals from the earth naturally. Okay? We think through osmosis, through absorption. But the fact is, they're getting what they need from, yes, organic matter, from decomposition, and from minerals. So we'll segue into the GO line, the General Organics line. And what we're dealing with here are partially digested plant extracts with bits of mineralization. So all that means is there's no animal byproducts in it. Okay? It's a fabulous product. You'll get pretty good results if you don't inoculate, like with a subculture. You're going to change the game if you throw some sort of beneficial bacteria at it.
With it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so if you go through that line, the only product that does have animal byproducts is the biomarine. And that is processed squid. And the reason why we chose the squid is because science has taught us it is the most available form of protein that the plant can get. I mean, using fish is great. And if you use it, don't fix what isn't broken. But if you can get your hands on the bottle, get it.
Well, I've always sold fishy stuff, lots of seaweed and fish
Right?
extract.
Exactly.
They love it.
They love it, love it.
Let's talk a little bit about Flora Nova. This is one of my favorite all-around kind of simple, here you go, fertilizers.
Sure. Flora Nova, by the way, just won international patents for being a true one part, and it's a big deal for us.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. So Flora Nova is a true one part, where Larry and company found a way to suspend the antagonistic elements found within the 13 necessary that makes up a complete base nutrient profile. Most of your nutrients, folks, are going to be a minimum of 2 bottles. That's to separate the calcium, usually from the sulfur. But in this case, Larry found a way to encapsulate everything and keep it in suspension. As a result, We don't make any sizes bigger than 2.5 because you'll break your
Right.
back. And you
Yeah,
have
that
to
stuff
shake
is
it up.
heavy.
You have to shake it up. Shake, shake, shake.
That's not the bottle to drop on your foot. for
Absolutely.
sure.
But, it's funny you say that because in my smaller markets where they tend to be more organic minded, okay, not the true croppers for cash, they are very organic minded. They take, great measures to make sure that they're producing the most flavorful, aromatic produce known, okay? In my smaller markets, they rock a lot of fish. They rock a lot of organic-based, okay, or organic properties within mineralization, which is a total candidate for Nova. And here's the feedback. Chris, we have never used a better veg nutrient in our life.
Wow.
Okay? So I asked them, I said, well, what about bloom? And they're like, well, we grow basil and herbs, completely different marketplace. But that's what Nova does. It's a one part. It's actually a lot of farmers that farm deep into the woods love the Nova because it's one bottle in the backpack.
Yeah.
And it goes a long, long way.
Yeah, it's got a good mix ratio for sure.
And the mediums that can be used in is kind of all around.
You name it. I would say my favorite medium of choice right now is jacking around with Nova and Coco. I mean, what a wonderful blend. It just works. It's got so much organic property in it. It's just a booster for your microbial life, your beneficial bacteria, all your biology. Hey, don't take my word for it.
So, and then your other 2-bottle product is going to be the Flora Duo.
The Flora Duo. The Flora Duo was one that was Larry's baby, and it is such a good product if you're in the grow room every day. Let me explain. Flora Duo is going to promote more branches off of branches. So in essence, it's a Scroggs, just perfect situation. Okay, you're going to notice that your plant's going to shorten up just a little bit because the energy is spent on promoting these branches. Absolutely. What they did with the Duo was they kept the calcium in the A and put the sulfur in the B. Okay, so we have our true 2-part, and it is super clean. The one thing I need to tell everybody, if you're going to mess with Duo, expect a leafier product, which seasonally I enjoy. I enjoy that because it really promotes a much better cure for our region, which tends to be very dry. So you're going to get a leafier product. You're going to get a lot of weight. Thing is, in bloom, the ratios are 3 parts of the B to the 1 part of the A, noting that the calcium's in the A. So you're going to want to have some Cali Magic on hand.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds like good advice.
I like to have that no matter what.
How
It
about
doesn't
it?
really matter what I'm using.
No doubt.
That's one I like to have on hand. And one of my other favorites, especially for outside, is the Maxi series.
Yeah, secret's out. Can't put the genie back in the bottle. Here's the deal. If GH heard me say this, they might not be happy, but I'm going to say it. I don't like when retailers push the Maxi series because they lose customers. It goes so long. I mean,
True.
It
That's why I like
lasts forever. But when you're dealing with outdoor gardening, it goes a long way.
Yes.
And it's very, very convenient.
Yeah.
Okay? And by the way, it's the same premium grade inputs that we use in our facility.
Nice.
Well, I like it. I think it's super easy. Everybody can use it.
There you go.
So let's talk a little bit about all of the different supplements that you guys carry.
Sure. Which ones do you like?
Oh, I like my Cali Magic, I said.
Yeah, I know you do.
Big on the new Floralicious Plus.
Floralicious Plus is always a big one.
It is a big deal. And, you know, the Floralicious Plus, it's like this. For the hydroponic gardener that is experiencing very sterile results, it looks good, it smells good, but the flavor's just not there. Or you had to pump it filled with so much nutrients that it's a road flare. Okay? I mean, the taste is just still in your throat. There really was no in between. It's like, how do I bridge that gap and get my soil complexities, aromas, and flavors out of my hydroponic plants? And that is the Floralicious Plus.
Yeah, I've had a lot of good results with it. It definitely is a hot mix.
Absolutely.
Something I think probably our listeners are curious about. I get a lot of questions is the silica. You guys now have the Armor SI.
Oh, that thing is flying off the shelves. I talked to the manufactured, or like the guys that actually manufactured this at GH, and Larry was a big part of that. What he said was, it took him so long to get that 10% into a bottle without solidifying, okay,
Right.
and messing with your pH, dramatically. And like every other product, these are Larry's babies, and he does not release products until they're ready. Mm-hmm. So here's the shot. Armor SI is at 10% silica, okay? I think one of the other products that was at 7% was Protect. Really good product. In fact, a fabulous product. Protect was wonderful. It's just now we beat it. We're a 10%er. It's going to be a little cheaper on the shelf. But here's what we learned about silica and its role in the plant. Silica acts as the plant's only immune system. It actually collects into the areas of the plant where it's either most infected or weakest. And so what we've learned is a healthy plant is going to benefit the most from silica to support the weight that it wants to put on. Okay? Now, that's an opinion based on my experience. Here's the scientific data. The silica is the most widely found mineral in the earth. It's everywhere, okay? Sure. It's just everywhere. But to get it into a plant, that's the challenge. The Armor SI is different from the other products on the shelf because it is a 10%er that goes right into concentration. No need to stir it, although you should. But the other silicas are kind of slimy and they float, or there's just some agitation that has to happen to get it into solution. Caveat, too much silica will aggravate the uptake of micronutrients. Sure. So the sweet spot on the bat with the Armor SI, due to its concentration rates, should never exceed 5 mils per gallon, in my opinion.
Oh, I'm glad I know that now.
And here's another tip for you guys out there. If you use it as a soil drench or in your hydro solution, try a little foliar at 2 mils per gallon. You'll see results in 48 hours.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good tip. Okay, so we're going to take another quick little break and return with more of General Hydroponics and Garden Talk here on the Funky Fresh Garden Show on KYGT The Goat 102.7. Welcome back. This is your host, the Grow Goddess, for the Funky Fresh Garden Show here on KYGT The Goat 102.7. We left off talking with Chris about the wide array of nutrients that his company offers. General Hydroponics isn't just nutrients. They also make a variety of hydro systems and manufacture Coco Tech blocks and Coco Mats and rabbit rooters.
Yes, ma'am.
the systems come in a variety of sizes. They come from a single bucket water farm up to a 60 plant aeroflow that can be expanded. Last week we actually talked about some of that when we were talking about our different hydro systems. We brought up the aeroflow in our NFT and aeroponic chat.
Yeah, the aeroflow is an insane unit.
Yeah.
That's like unbelievable, unprecedented growth rates. Very finicky. Mm-hmm. Okay, that is not for the beginner nor the novice. It's for the expert.
Yeah. I had played with one for quite some years and had my fun with it, but...
So you are an expert. I knew it.
Well, you know, I had my fair share of retightening all those pieces after they sprayed all over my room.
Did you make the mistake of using any organic kind of supplements?
No.
Good.
No, come on. You know me better.
Good.
Do you want to talk about any of the other little systems you guys offer?
Sure. It depends on the growing style that you're going to choose. My favorite is a deep water culture recirculating. I've jacked around with the undercurrent systems, and although they work good, they're very rigid, very hard to, kind of move your plants and position them. I really like the idea of growing a plant as large as I want to, okay? Mm-hmm. And being able to maneuver it around the room and not being fixed to a location.
Yes.
So, recirculating drip is going to grow you. I mean, look, you're going to keep your plant counts down and you're going to fill up the room. That's the way that system works, okay? And that is the water farm, the power grower, and that big mega grower. I mean, that thing's a monster, and folks, you don't need that system, right. Okay? You're going to do fine with the power grower or the water farm so long as you're in the room every 2 days to top it off.
Right. That was always my mistake. Mm-hmm. 3-4 days go by, you're like, oh.
Yep. Hey, you know what? The heavier feeders can take it. I mean, they just can.
Yeah.
The heavier feeding plants will take it. But again, here's the other benefit. When people tend to do an ebb and flow environment with one reservoir, if one plant gets diseased, guess what? So, I enjoy the fact of having isolation in that regard.
Yeah.
Some of the other systems, we have the Euro Grower, which is like a Batto bucket system. Fabulous system if you're going to screen it, okay? But again, you're limited to that one reservoir. And if that's your grow style, that's your grow style. The Aeroflow. That is our Ferrari. That I recommend any one of our base nutrients except for Flora Nova because of its organic properties. And it's something that you're going to want to run a Flora Shield in. Flora Shield is a product that's a sterilizer. It is going to keep everything sterile and clean. It will kill bacteria, both good and bad, so no inoculation. This is just raw, oxygenated, misting growth. I mean, it's unbelievable. Google it and or YouTube it and see if there's a video for you guys out there.
Yeah, and those come in sizes from 30 site up?
Oh, God, yeah. You can go all the way up to, I think,
120?
120 on that one rest. Absolutely. Giant.
But those are really awesome. We used to have those in the shops I worked in for lettuces and things that were quick.
For sure.
And you could just cycle them through. And
yep,
nice
absolutely.
Display, too.
How about it? What a footprint.
So as far as the beginner person goes, getting into hydroponics, those little systems, those little one bucket systems are probably the best. They
are because, you know, I've seen people grow banana trees in those things. I mean, they're growing plants that are, you know, the stalks on these things are the size of our legs. I mean, immense. And don't be fooled. The one thing is, they come with a 2.5 gallon reservoir, and that will get exhausted in a shorter period of time the older and taller your plant gets. So it's a growing style choice.
I just think they're cool because they're just so small and you can put them in your house.
Portable. Yeah, they're portable. This is a message from your emergency broadcast system. You are about to get severe weather.
That might be what's going on. I don't know. You never know here, floods and
Hail.
I love it out here. I mean, look around. This is
I know.
awesome.
I like just looking out the window and seeing
You know,
those.
running water everywhere, just green mountaintops. Love it.
Goats and elk.
Goats and all, baby.
Yeah, we've seen all kinds of animals lately. They're starting to come out. I want to touch really quick on the different mediums that you guys also offer.
Sure.
We have done a seedling and clone show, and one of those things that we talked about was the rapid rooter. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what they're made of?
Absolutely. The rapid rooter plugs are basically decomposed bark, and, you know, it's basically decomposed materials that they blend together with polymers from plants. So, you know, occasionally you'll see something growing out of one,
Right.
like randomly. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to grow things. So the thing about the rapid rooter plug that I like the most is it really tends to give, you know, your germinated seed or your clone a jump start because of the oxygen levels that's able to be in there, quite like rock wool does. You know, rock wool is very hard to overwater. I mean, it can be done,
Yes.
but it's very hard to do so. It's the same concept with the rapid rooter plug, only it's an organic, you know, composted plug. And so that's what those are. Noting when you buy them, make sure to always keep that bottom tray wet.
Yeah. Once they dry out, it seems
It's
like that's
over.
like the, yeah. Like they like harden up like a rock.
I know.
You can do it. I've soaked them and forced
true.
them to take
Well, that's
water.
kind of their job, because the thought is,
Exactly.
you know, the thought is not to dampen off.
Right.
And when the plant finally roots or the germinated seed starts to finally grow, by your third, fourth set of roots, you know, or nodes, your roots are going to be so big that it's going to shed it like snakeskin. And then the whole idea is to have that decomposition decompose even more. You know?
Nice.
Awesome. And then also the Coco Mats, which are pretty cool. Those are sold in like 4x4, 4x8 sheets. Tell us a little bit about those and what purpose they serve.
Yeah, the Coco Mats, you know, are a very, very popular product, and we don't realize how popular they are until the retailers sell out of stock on them.
Right.
You know?
That's right.
And then you're like, well, where the heck did all these people come from wanting these mats? Here's the shot. For you ebb and grow people, or ebb and flow people out there, growing in trays with your rock wool and things like that, these are a wonderful anchoring product that is going to allow the roots to weave themselves through the fibers. And we get two things as a benefit from that. Number one, we get wonderful oxygen ratios at the roots. The
Right.
second thing is that we get, it gets anchored. It's very hard to, you know, knock that plant over.
Right.
And
That's nice.
it is. It really is. And, you know, I know a lot of guys that grow in trays that say, well, you know, I really like to move my plants around and blah, blah, blah. And my answer to that is get creative. Get creative. Cut them up, okay, before the roots grow and intertwine with each other, if that's your grow style,
Right.
okay?
I could see that.
Absolutely. And that's the way we do
It
it.
just keeps them clean, too.
Man.
Keeps the trays so clean.
Yeah, it does. And the roots tend to stay jet white. I mean,
Yeah.
they love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's our main goal, I suppose.
Well, for our eyes anyway. You know, if you get colonized roots and you actually see it, they should be dark. Yeah, you know.
And then that cocoa material, you guys also use, you make cocoa caps.
We do. And the cocoa caps are more of a, you know, a plant cover in case you're using, you know, high light conditions with high moisture. It will keep out all of the algae growth that tends to build up. So,
I use those quite a bit in my Aeroflow.
do you?
I would use those little ones, and then
Yeah.
I would use the cups.
Absolutely. The cups are awesome for
Yeah.
starters. They are fabulous. And you know, I think, if I remember correctly, I was doing 8-inch cocoa cups about 2 years ago because I wanted to see the effect of a cocoa cup versus just a plastic pot, same size. And when I pulled the plant out of the plastic pot, not that it was root bound, but it did what it was supposed to do. It wrapped, those roots wrapped around. And when I tried to pull the plant out of the cocoa pot, I felt like, I was just going to rip the plant's life in half. Yeah, because they were just so woven. And, they found a way to get their oxygen ratio. And it was just, it was a game changer.
That's awesome. All right, well, now is the time where we're going to take our long break and we do our little musical session, and you can call in if you have questions. The number is 303-567-46